r/ask Reddit. What's an urge you get but will never act upon? Every time I stand over the bins of apples in a grocery store, I wonder how many people I could hit with a decent throwing arm before somebody stopped me. I've never had this urge, at least not until now. I'm never going to not think about this at the grocery store. Dude, I ducking work in a grocery store. The urge is going to be so strong every day now. To just vanish. To just withdraw all my money. Get in my car and drive until I don't feel like driving anymore. It would like hitting reset on my life. Everywhere you go, there you are. I too had this urge for a long time until I sat down and thought about just why I felt this way. Also known as the geographic cure. It works for a little while. Then you realize all your old shitty tendencies and problems came along for the ride as well. Teacher here. Sometimes, whenever I have students act out of line, I get the urge to seduce their mothers and randomly show up at Saturday breakfast. What a power play that would be. I actually have a friend of a friend who kind of did this. I say kind of because he is a guidance counselor, not a teacher. Mr. Counselor was recently separated and going through a divorce. He had a daughter who was a student at that high school and was picked on a lot because a few people figured out who her dad was. And kids are a-holes. Unfortunately, it turned violent at some point and one of her bullies, who we'll call Ashley, ended up bashing her head into a locker during their fight. Black eye, bruises, but she was mostly okay thankfully. Mr. Counselor calls in Ashley's parents about her behavior, and she is a single mom who he said looked a lot like Zooey Deschanel. His exact quote when he told this story was, "You could ducking smell the sexual frustration on her." He sends Ashley back to class after they decide in school suspension starts the next day. When she's gone, mom breaks down in tears because she has no idea what to do with her kid acting out so much. They talk for a bit and Mr. Counselor asks her on a date. She was gorgeous. Her daughter was a beach. I'm going for it. Ashley stays at a friend's place soon after. They end up hooking up and he crashes at her place. They wake up the next morning and have sex again. He walks out of the room and Ashley's coming around the corner saying, "You go to him, Mo," before stalling when she turns to see who he is. He stops and they lock eyes for a moment. He starts laughing, grabs his stuff and makes his exit. I was actually laughing out of awkwardness, but I hoped she though I was the most evil mother ducker on the planet for what she was doing to my girl. Mr. Counselor said when he and his daughter left school that Monday, Ashley had apologized to her and started crying saying, "How could you do that to me?" He's never told her what happened, but he says she's never really been picked on again, and her grades now are much better. I don't know if it was made up or not, but this is definitely my third favorite comment ever. To move far away from where I currently live, never telling a soul where I'm going, and starting completely fresh in life. I did it, got lonely, didn't fit in well on a place where I didn't grow up, ended up lonely as ever, and when I moved back I was so much happier. Maybe what you need is a break. It wasn't like that for me, but it ended up like that for me. It helped a lot. Where did you go and where do you grow up? Anyone else get the weird urge to kiss whoever you're talking to, regardless of their gender or attractiveness? Almost like a "I could kiss you." What would occur as a result of that? I wonder urge. It's really off-putting at times. I hope it's not just me. I get this too. Sometimes I get the urge to hit people too. Not because I want to cause them pain or hit them. I think my brain is just like, yeah but like, what if? One time in middle school my friend said in the middle of my sentence, "You're fat." It was so random I couldn't be that mad. I figured it was just something like this. Every time I look over the railing I imagine what it would be like to jump off. Open bracket. Not suicidal. Mine isn't myself going over, but for some reason, if my keys are in my hand, I have to fight not to throw them over. Makes no sense. I get the same way with my keys near storm drains. As soon as I pass by one with my keys out, I instantly think I could throw those down there. Quit school and just live at my parents' house until my money runs out and just die from starvation or something. When I'm driving, I often get the urge to just swerve into oncoming traffic. Haven't a clue why. This is actually a very well-known psychological phenomenon, called the call of the void, or el appel du vide, as it was originally named in French. A lot of people experience the idea that they could do something that would undoubtedly kill themselves or someone else, even if they have no suicidal thoughts or tendencies. It's so common that it's been studied extensively. Weirdly, it's hypothesized by some scientists to be the brain's weird, paradoxical way to appreciate life. We could end it all, destroy our lives. It's so easy to die, so therefore we ought to appreciate the fact that we are in fact alive. Madness is never that far away. It's as close as saying yes to the wrong impulse. Whenever I am working and someone is physically close to me, a little voice pops in my head saying they are so close, you could just kiss them. But then my brain comes back to reality and I'd realize I have no desire to kiss my bio partner, teacher, etc. But they are so close that I could. I'm almost the same. Except I get the urge to slap people. I'm talking to someone and just feel like beating them across the face. They're so close. I could just do it and they'd never have time to flinch. Of course I don't actually slap people across the face. Are you Louise Belcher? I blame the Assassin's Creed series for making me see climbable buildings and gappable ledges and making me wonder if I could clear it or climb it. Open bracket. Spoilers. I cannot. Edit. I woke up to 89 unread inbox replies that are mostly from this post. What? If you're reasonable weight and go to the gym once or twice a week, you probably could. Once. But if you stay fat you could jump off the building and assassinate someone. Once. Scream at work. If you work in a restaurant, go into the walk-in and scream. It helps. A walk-in cooler is probably the best workplace mental health service. Thick metal walls to muffle outbursts. Cold temperature to cool you down, keep you from hanging around too long and dwelling on it. And you're typically alone in there. Edit. Since this blew up a bit, may I add that my last job with a walk-in, the boss put cameras everywhere, even in both the walk-ins, and man, that was the worst. So glad to be out of that hell. My co-worker has the most endearing and beautiful smile I have ever seen. I want him to know that, but I'm certainly not going to be the one to tell him. Edit. Sorry, I forgot context. I have a massive crush on him. I don't know how to tell him the smile thing without making it more obvious than it probably already is. Edit too. Alright, fine. You'll have convinced me. I just need to figure out how to say it in a way that's brutally casual. One day I was in an internal meeting and one woman who I barely knew, a totally normal person, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You have really beautiful eyes," and just moved on to the next thing in the meeting. I'm not exactly Ryan Reynolds to say the least, so this wasn't an attraction thing for her. I will never forget that totally innocent and beautiful compliment. In summary, tell him. Same thing happened to me as a kid. I was not the most handsome guy. In fact, I was bullied for cheap clothes and mom made haircuts quite a lot. But one day a girl I barely talked with just walked up to me at the bus station and told me my eyes are beautiful. The first compliment I ever got from someone not related to me. We didn't talk anymore after that and nothing ever came from that. But it's 20 years later now and I still think about this situation. Picking up one of those 4 packs of muffins in the grocery store, opening it up and just punching the duck out of them. Really give them the business. Crumbs scattering everywhere while I laugh like a lunatic pulverizing those duckers. Sometimes I giggle walking through the bakery thinking about it. Edit. Wow. So I must say I had never heard Bill Burr's stand up and the muffin joke is hilarious. I am going to have to check out more of his stuff. I just legitimately hate those giant muffins. Big spongy bastards usurping true muffins. And don't get me started on those duckers with the soft cream cheese still pooped right into the center. I found this unreasonably funny. Each time I read your comment it just gets funnier. I work in a grocery store where we sell these muffin packages. So thank you for putting this idea in my head. I'll never be able to walk past them without thinking about beating the hell out of them. This 100% reminds me of a Bill Burr sketch. I have never laughed so hard at someone wanting to punch mush muffins. You may enjoy this. https://www.youtube.com watch v=lnog01n1u3w. When hugging small children animals I always can't help but wonder if I'm strong enough to just crush them to death. I'm not gonna test it out. I think there is a German word for the desire to squeeze cute things. It's common. Edit. Okay. Many Germans think there's not. Maybe it was a different language. Lennyism. When something is so cute you wanna squeeze the devil out or edit it. For me it feels like some sort of overwhelming emotion that is so immense for you to handle and contain. So you are at a point where you don't know what to do with it. And to release this kind of stress, kinda like a stress ball, you displace it to squeezing the thing that's causing it. That's an actual thing called cute aggression. Basically something is so cute we don't know what to do with it so we want to kill it, lol. It's ducked up but it is what it is. I love that that's an actual human impulse. I don't know what to do. Kill it. I really want to take a bite out of the deli meats at the store, but I think an entire one would cost way too much. I work at a deli. It'd be like $40-50 bucks. Possibly worth it depending on how much you want that bite. Can you possibly steal one for me and ship it here? I'll give you good boy points. After class today I was talking to classmates in the hallway and I had a sudden urge to bite down as hard as I could on the concrete pillar on the wall. I couldn't get the thought out of my mind until after I left. Edit. Great. Now my most popular comment on here is about how horrible my brain is at filtering bad ideas. I did miss lunch today so I was a little hungry but I don't think I'm iron deficient. The thought was less about eating and more about the actual act of biting concrete and what that would feel like for my teeth. R/forbidden snacks. It didn't even look anything like food though. I just started thinking wow, I'd seriously duck up my teeth if I just went to that pillar and chomped down on a corner as hard as I could. And started getting antsy because now I felt compelled to do it because I thought of it. If someone is walking very slowly in front of me I want to kick their foot and trip them so bad. I always have to hold back yelling move out of the way to slow walkers. Wouldn't do it because don't want to be a wanker. When people stand by ledges or at the top of stairs and I feel like pushing them down. It's so tempting. Push me. And then just touch me. You know those really annoying kids in the mall, running around and their parents don't care? Forearm smash. Take them out. Boom. Why not fart them in the face? https://www.reddit.com/askcritic comments fn5gr/reddit. What is your silent unseen act of personal C1HDGWV? I'm a recovering opiate addict. I've been clean for almost a decade. The thing about addiction is it never really goes away. I still get the urge all the time, but I've learned to control it. Even if I get around certain friends that feel like they absolutely must get me to eat a Percocet or something, I'm easily able to say number, but the urge will always be there. Hi, I'm glad you're clean. Hi, glad I am clean. Move to a new city somewhere in the world and start a new life. I did this with surprisingly little planning and having never visited the city I chose. It worked out amazingly, and while I know it's not for everyone, if you have relatively little to lose and can bail out back home, I suggest trying it. I'm engaged to the woman I love, in a city I love and working a job I love. My life is pretty good, but I definitely think about just leaving everything and starting over. I'm just afraid I've become complacent with the short life I have on this earth. Not that I'll do it, but it's fun to think about. Glad it worked out well for you. To drop everything and live in the wilderness. Sometimes civilization is just too much. I get this too. Except it's immediately followed by the realization that I am woefully unskilled at most things that have to do with wilderness survivalism. I have this impulse too, and call it thoriing my life away. It gives me a chuckle, so I thought I'd share. When I'm filling my car up, I sometimes get an urge to pour a ton of petrol on myself or someone else. I just want to see what would happen. I also dig the smell. Oh, also, I've wanted to slap my mother-in-law about 50 times since Christmas. It itches like a mother ducker and burns a bit. And if you're smoking, it burns a lot. Briefly. Standing up at work and loudly announcing I'm going for a shite. I'm gone for a shite, comma, before walking out of the office. Edit. Since people sussed I was Scottish purely by use of the word shite. All the lads at work do that and it makes me laugh until I cry every time. Murder. It's always murder. I've always jokingly told my friends that I have a small list of people that if there was no way anyone found out and there would be no consequences, I would kill, given the opportunity. It isn't really a joke. People that abuse animals, children, etc. People that are excessively rude to everyone for no reason, especially those who only do things because they know they can get away with it. Edit. Now one of my highest rated comments is about how I'd kill people. I'm not crazy, but there are some really shitty people out there. Especially those who only do things because they know they can get away with it. Like kill a list of people if there were no consequences. I see what you did there. Alcoholic here. Alcohol still feels like the solution to all my problems. I've found myself turning into the liquor store parking lot without even thinking. I think I will always feel this way no matter how long I go without a drink. Edit. What I typed seems to have resonated with a lot of you. I'm glad. Not a bear but must resist urge to eat all the salmon behind seafood counter at grocery store. That's exactly what a bear would say. I work at a nationally known pickle company in packaging. Over the last 6 months, every once in a while, I get an urge to stick my dong in the pickle slicer. I am not sure why, but the impulse is getting stronger. I never will though. I mean, he's married for God's sake. Jesus Christ. At first it was r/don't stick your dong in it, but then it became r/suddenly gay. Quitting? I mean, I will. But it'll be called retiring when I do it. I had that strong urge today when I realized that I had not been provided a very key piece of information I needed. After working on a horribly tedious project for 3 days, had to scrap the whole thing and start over. For a moment, I thought about just walking away from my job, my life, everything. Just getting in the car and driving until I ran out of gas. To just get naked wherever in at. Happily married guy who gets the urge to bang other chicks all the time. I never will. Edit. For those suggesting I talk to her about it and see if she'd be okay with it. No. I don't really want to be unfaithful, and frankly, wouldn't in a million years want to be with a woman who would be okay with it. Not with that attitude you won't. That's the idea. Banging the hot intern at work who shows interest. Intrusive thoughts call of the void. I used to daydream about sitting in my car in the garage with the engine running. Seemed like one of the less painful ways to off yourself. I don't have a garage anymore though. It absolutely is not a pleasant way to off yourself. Both CO and CO2 inhalation trigger an asphyxiation reflex that includes a violent panic attack, thrashing, etc. I won't elaborate further, because I don't want to give anyone ideas. But gas suicide is a complex process and easily botched. You may be actively discouraging people from acting on it by describing how awful it is. Taking my seatbelt off and hitting the e-brake while on the highway and letting Jesus take the wheel. Literally just ram my cart into the a-holes that stop in the middle of the aisle in grocery stores. I've never been in a fight, like a full-on fist fight, just wondering how much I could give, but like, I don't want to be broken afterwards, so I won't ever. I feel like this may be more common than I think, but I sometimes really want to know what it would feel like to feel extreme pain, but to not have it last. Like I want to know what my pain would be like if I stabbed myself, but I don't want it to cause lasting damage. I would love to ask someone I'm helping at work, how are you still alive being as ducking dumb and worthless as you are? Exhibitionism. Actually, as a high schooler I would go hiking out by these dried up riverbanks. Wide open areas of loose stone scattered with valleys and hills and small groves of trees. In the distance less than 200 yards away there was this neighborhood isolated by this wall, but all the second story windows had a great view of this area. Long story short, the exhibitionist spirit hit me one day while I was hiking, so I stripped off my clothes and spent the rest of the day naked. No one anywhere near me, but for all I know 200 people could have been watching from their windows. What fun. Motorboat random women with fantastic racks. Same but with butts. The urge to just turn off my social filter and say just exactly what I feel each and every person around me needs to know. I regularly have to stifle the want to just freak the duck out on strangers for a variety of reasons. What if, when I was having a heated argument, I just beat the shit out of the other person, even someone half my size? I've been in a fight when pushed or punched, but disagreeing with someone is no reason to become physical, but the thought does intrude sometimes. Driving my car into a ditch or a guardrail tree at high speeds. Knock someone off the road when they change lanes into me really quickly without even using their blinkers. I'm sick of slamming on my brakes or swerving lanes to dodge these idiots who don't check their blind spots. If they're not going to drive safe, then maybe they deserve an accident. I don't act on these urges, but man, I really want it. Young man. There are leaves all around. I said young man. Eat a leaf off the ground. I said young man. Won't they make a cool sound when you stuff them in your leaf hole? Gold edit. https I imgur comqkjcb0p jpg. I have this urge inside of me where I picture myself satisfyingly murdering someone, taking them down, particularly someone I dislike. I know I probably won't ever murder anyone, but I always think about this. Submit. Inserting inappropriate places with inappropriate people. I really have a thing for professors. I'm an adult studying in university and talking about other adults. Non-consenting, that's why I'll never do, and I also don't want to burn all my professional opportunities. THECALLOFTHEVOID. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.